Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Hope so you are all fine. This is your biology class and we are doing chapter 6, nutrition in mammals. The topic for today's discussion is the pharynx. Students, if we talk about the pharynx, it is the part of your gut region which leads from mouth to esophagus and then to trachea, which is known as windpipe by way of the larynx or voice box. Pharynx also have some important structure. First one is glottis and second one is epiglottis. Students, if I explained you the function of pharynx, then you know that it is the second part of your gut region. So, pharynx is the part of the gut which leads from mouth to the esophagus and to trachea, which is the windpipe by the way of larynx. It will come down from larynx or voice box. Larynx is also known as voice box because it involves in the production of voice. The larynx bears a slit-like opening which is called glottis. So here is the opening and this opening is known as glottis. The pharynx is a common passage for food and air. Both food and air will pass through the pharynx. We don't have separate openings for the entry of food and air. We have common one entrance through which food and air both will enter, and that entrance is known as pharynx. There is a possibility of food passing into the trachea during swallowing because when we are after chewing food, when we enter this food into this portion, then it is possible that food can be entered into the trachea. So this is usually prevented by a piece of flap like cartilage that is known as epiglottis. This is epiglottis and the function of epiglottis is to protect the trachea so that food or any particle cannot enter into the trachea because it can be dangerous. So the epiglottis is the larynx just behind the root of the tongue. So epiglottis is on above the larynx and just behind the tongue. So students, during swallowing, the larynx move up. This larynx will move up and larynx is covered by a epiglottis and no food particles can enter the trachea. This will covered through your epiglottis and no particles will enter into your trachea. But occasionally some particles of food or water may get into the larynx or trachea. So students, in some cases what happened that some food particles or some water drops can be entered into the trachea. But if they entered into your trachea, they will automatically produces a violent coughing. That coughing forces all the food particles or water drops to come out from the trachea. Because if they don't come outside, then what will happen? There will be choking in your trachea and you can't breathe anymore and it can cause death. That's why this automatically produces violent coughing which will force your food particles or water drops to come out and prevent you from choking. Other structures opening into the pharynx are the nasal cavities. This is also the opening of pharynx. And the eustachian tubes from the ears. So students, From your ear, two tubes enter into your throat. Those tubes are known as eustachian tubes. These are also the opening of your pharynx, eustachian tubes and nasal cavity. Students, I have explained the pharynx and its functions to you. If you find any problem in this lecture, you can ask me. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.